Hey everybody, I'm Alex, and it's been a long year. I know that there's only about a month left, but it's been a slog to get through. But I'm just glad that it's almost over. We got about a month left. Got to keep pushing through it. But it has been a struggle. What am I talking about? You're asking? Oh, sorry. Let me spell it out. I'm watching the 2026 Chicago Blackhawks. That's right. I watched the Chicago Blackhawks. And they are a terrible, terrible hockey team. They are so pitiful at the sport that they play. And here's why. They got to play at home. And guess who they get to play? They get to play the last place team in the National Hockey League, the holy crappin' Vancouver Canucks, who are just a god-awful hockey team. They're so terrible. They traded away their entire team. They've got no one left. They are pretty much in full tank mode because they want Gavin McKenna. And here come the Chicago Blackhawks playing in front of their home fans for the first time in a month. They score a goal in the first 2 minutes on a terrible play by Vancouver's defense, allowing Ryan Donato to just skate in after a dumping attempt off the end boards and then score. And then the Hawks proceed to play maybe one of their worst games of the season for the rest of the game. I don't know what the hell happened. Arvid Soderblom, in his first game since picking up his first career shutout against the Utah Mammoth, played like balls. So terrible. 3 goals in the first 10 minutes of the game allowed, and they weren't even pretty goals. They were ugly goals. Really, really disgusting. And here's my problem with Arvid Soderblom. I think when he plays up to his potential, he can be a solid starter in the National Hockey League. The problem is that his potential only shines once every 4 or 5 games. The other 3 or 4 that you're getting from him are average backup to really bad backup level play. And this is one of his worst games of the year. I mean, I'm not going to forget the 9 goals that he let up against the Buffalo Sabres earlier this year, which, I got a little upset about that one. I'm not nearly as upset. The Sabres are doing very, very good for themselves. How they had that phenomenal 8-7 win against the Lightning this past week. What an environment. I'm excited for playoff hockey to come back to Buffalo, barring a historic collapse, but they're going to get to the playoffs. Regardless, Arvid Soderblom had a terrible game in that one. This is probably his second worst performance. I mean, seriously. See, sometimes goaltenders will let up a lot of goals, and they're not always their own fault. Maybe their defense leaves them out to dry. Maybe they just can't buy a save. But in a game like this, the 4 goals that Arvid Soderblom let up, because Vancouver scored 2 empty netters to get to 6-3, it is just disgusting to see those goals go in. The goal to give the Canucks the lead in the 3rd period was so yucky. I was just stunned to see him let that up. Tries to play the puck away after it gets thrown towards him. He just bounces off his stick. Oh, wait, there's a Canuck right there on the side of the cage, which heads up play, but it goes right in the back of your net because he is right there on the doorstep, and with some nice hand-eye coordination, puts it right by you. I mean, seriously, this is a throwaway shot that he quickly guides away. It sits up in the air for way too long, didn't nearly get as much lateral trajectory on the clearing attempt, and Brock Besser is waiting on the doorstep. Oh my gosh, dude. This hockey team, I was trying really hard to say they're not that bad, guys, because look how bad they were the last couple of years. Has this team progressed at all? Has this team gotten better? No. The answer is no. They've won some more games than they did the last couple of years. whoop-de-frickin-do, they're still a bottom 5 team in the National Hockey League. They still stink! Thank God Frank Nazar finally broke his goalless drought, because that was getting really frustrating to watch. It was a tip-in. Sometimes that's what you need to find your groove again. You just need to find one that just goes in somehow. Frank Nazar would tie the game up in the second before that pitiful goal in the third. Hawks would ultimately almost tie it, but it's kicked in by Landon Slaggert after a shot from newcomer Andrew Mangiapane. We'll touch on that in just a second. But he kicks it in, and the goal is disallowed. Hawks can't score because they're down a goal in the third period. They can't ever do it. And then two empty net goals, and they lose. They lost to the last place team in the National Hockey League at home. And before I continue ripping on this team, I do want to give them a little bit of praise for their trade deadline work, because I thought it was pretty good. They were very active at the trade deadline. I talked about the Connor Murphy trade last week, but there were 3 more trades that this team made before the deadline on last Friday. The biggest one being, again, with the Edmonton Oilers, funnily enough, and it sends Jason Dickinson and Colton Dach out to Edmonton in exchange for Andrew Mangiapane and a 2027 first-round pick. I like the move. A first-round pick for Jason Dickinson and Colton Dach? Yes, please. I will take it. Absolutely. Andrew Mangiapane, maybe he becomes a guy who can be with this team through its developmental phase, but I don't really see him being a big piece going forward for this team. And but I'm excited to see what he can do in Chicago. And we'll mention his name once or twice more here down the video. But the other trades, they traded forward Aiden Thompson for Derek Pouliot to the Rangers. It's kind of a nothing trade. And then they traded Nick Foligno, the captain, to Minnesota for future consideration. So pretty much saying, hey, Nick, you've been our captain. I want to surprise Nick's been here this long. You've been our captain the last 2 years. Go out and go win a cup with the Wild if you want. Go try and chase one before you retire. Because he's been around a long time. He's pushing 20 whole seasons in the National Hockey League at this point. But I thought that he was going to be here for maybe 1 or 2 years, but he's been here since Connor Bedard got here, and I'm excited to see what Nick Foligno can do with the Wild if it helps him at all. I mean, he scored 3 goals this year. I don't think he's going to be a massive goal scorer type of guy. I think he's going to play on the same line as his brother Marcus in Minnesota. I think that's going to be really fun to watch, just because both those guys are very physical with the way that they play. But I don't know. Good luck to Nick. I was not expecting him to be here for almost 3 full seasons. So, I mean, he was a good veteran presence for the young guys. It was time. Let him walk. Let him go chase a cup. And so we traded away a couple more guys. Where the hell is this team going to go now? And so the Hawks have to go head to Dallas fresh off the trade deadline. But before that, I got to go see the Rockford Ice Hogs go play a hockey game in San Diego against the Gulls. Hey, with AHL scheduling, you barely see that type of stuff. These teams don't play outside their division, I'm convinced. And so they got to go play in San Diego, so I had to go see them. And I got to see my boy Nick Lardis rip one from the left wing circle off a nice pass from Kevin Korchinski. Hogs ended up winning the game 3-2. They held a 3-2 lead the entire way through the third period. What? I'd love if the Hawks could do that, because Lardis and Comesso were going to get called up in between that games in that series. So Lardis and Comesso have to take a flight out of San Diego to Dallas to go play for the Chicago Blackhawks. Comesso didn't start, but Arvid Soderblom did, which means that Spencer Knight is not available, because Spencer Knight would be getting the start in this situation. And they're going to have Drew Comesso be at their emergency third backup. Great. How is this one going to end? Funnily enough, for some reason, after coming off a game where they lost to the last place team at home, they put up a decent effort against the Dallas Stars. They did not put up a good effort because they were thoroughly outplayed. They had like 11 shots through 50 minutes. They were not good offensively. But they scored 2 early goals on a tip-in from Tyler Bertuzzi and off a terrible turnover by the Stars. It finds the stick of Sam Renzel, who's able to just fire one by Casey DeSmith from the slot. Casey DeSmith had to do virtually nothing after those 2 goals went in. And he just had to make sure that the team that plays in front of him does enough to get them a lead. And sure enough, the Stars did, because the Hawks can't hold a lead. They let up a goal at the end of the first, and then they're going into the third, leading by 1. Oh wait, the Hawks did that the night prior, and they held on to it. Hawks can't do it. Stars tie it, and then they take the lead. Awesome. And see, the thing is, Arvid Soderblom wasn't terrible in this game. He actually came through in a couple ways, but his offense gave him the 2 goals to start. And Arvid Soderblom is a backup in the National Hockey League for a reason. He'll make a couple nice saves every now and then, but then he lets in a goal or 2, and you're like scratching your head about how he's able to save 1 or 2 shots earlier in the game, but not the one that goes in. And so Maverick Bourque gets 2 goals in the third period to put the Stars up 3-2. And then Hawks have to pull the goaltender, so you know they ain't winning. Oh, wait. Now they decide to score with the goal empty. They decided to score an empty net goal now. Connor Bedard from nearly the blue line with just a rip into the back of the net to tie it at 3. And this game's going to overtime. And it takes about 30 seconds for Miro Heiskanen to squeeze it under the pads of Arvid Soderblom and end the game. Not surprising, but at the same time, for some reason, the Chicago Blackhawks played the Dallas Stars really, really tough this season. They really did. They went 2-0-1 against the Stars this year. Really, really weird. 2 of those games being on the road. They won in the shootout, they won at home, and then they lost in overtime, all by the score of 4-3. So, really, really weird series. I can't believe the Hawks got 2 of 3 against the Stars this year. One of the best teams in the National Hockey League. And, okay. I'm not looking forward to playing against Utah, but, also, I'm thinking about going into it, okay, they get the Utah Mammoth at home. They're 2-0 so far against Utah. Apparently, the Mammoth are now another team that they're going to play tough. So, actually, scratch that. They might actually win this one. And they did. I don't know what the hell it is about the Dallas Stars and the Utah Mammoth where the Chicago Blackhawks suddenly start playing well, but they did. I don't know. And guess what? They walk away with the win. I don't know what it is about the Dallas Stars and the Utah Mammoth this season, but for some reason, either they play down a competition or the Chicago Blackhawks play some of their best hockey. I don't get it. Andrew Mangiapane gets his first goal as a member of the Chicago Blackhawks on, Ryan Donato was trying to get it to Mangiapane as, a backdoor tip-in type of thing, it looks like. But it goes off his hip and goes in. So that's one way, certainly, to get your first goal with a new team. Sure, we'll take it. I mean, seriously, this Hawks team will take any goal they can because, holy crap, they just cannot score. Drew Commesso got the start in this one. He allowed 2 goals in the first period, which the first one was a weird tip-in. The second one, it's Dylan Gunther. It's his 30th of the year. That guy has been paid by Utah, and rightfully so. He's been really good for the Mammoth, so I'm not going to blame him too much on that one. And then we go through the rest of this game. It's just both teams kind of just playing. And then we reach the end of the second period, and Connor Bedard throws the puck to the end boards. Andre Burakovsky's waiting right there. It's not rolling fast enough where you can kind of just shove it in. Instead, he picks up the puck and scores. a mini lacrosse style Michigan goal. Like, it went airborne. He picked up the puck and got it by Vitek Vanacek. What? I don't know how he did it, but so far in a season that's been super disappointing and really hard to get through, goal like that, that's a fun one late in this season. Hey, second period was pretty good in this one. Vitek Vanacek standing on his head, making a lot of really good saves. Hawks offense was actually putting pressure on the opposing goaltender. And then it takes like a mini Michigan to finally beat him in the second. Third period, not as much fun. Connor Bedard had a nice chance. Vanacek nearly let it go by him, and he does just enough to keep it in front of the line. And then with like under 2 minutes to go, Comesso makes a stop. The puck sits on the post before it's cleared away and guided away from harm by Ilya Mikheyev. And so we go to overtime in this one. So hey, Hawks are going to get points in back-to-back games. Not like it matters anyways, but sure, why not? And then the Hawks not take a penalty, they draw a penalty. They go on the power play. And they set up Frank Nazar in the slot. Rockets it by Vanacek for the win. Good to see Frank Nazar get a big one like that again. Hope he has a strong finish to 2026 after a massive stretch this year where he has just looked pretty bad. So I just don't get it. They follow up a loss to the last place team in the National Hockey League and then immediately take two playoff teams in the Central Division to overtime, winning one of them, to go to 3-0 on the season against the Utah Mammoth and to finish 2-0-1 against the other team, which is the Dallas Stars. Okay. Hey, and they'll have a chance at a season sweep of the Utah Mammoth in their next game. They'll play at Utah next. Then they play at Vegas, which they're going to lose because all Vegas can do is beat non-playoff teams right now. And then they get a back-to-back, or not a back-to-back, a home-and-home with the Minnesota Wild after that. Cool. I don't know. They probably beat Utah. They're probably going to beat Utah. If not, it was time. They won 3 of 4 against Utah already. They're not going to win a ton more games this season. Anyways, that's all I got this week. Trade deadline was a nice success for the Blackhawks, in my opinion. And hopefully it can help them out down the line, get some good prospects. And I'm hoping that, again, some of their younger prospects start to develop because they're really trusting in this young core. With the trades they made at the trade deadline, they officially became the youngest team in the National Hockey League. Alex Vlasic is now the longest tenured Chicago Blackhawk right now, which is ridiculous, by the way. And so I'm hoping that these young guys start to develop because, man, it feels like they're finally committing to a rebuild 5 years too late. And now we're realizing, oh yeah, this is what a rebuild looks like. This sucks. Yeah, there's just nothing to look forward to for the rest of the year with this team. Maybe some young prospects getting some opportunities, but that's about it. That's it for me, though. Hit the like button if you liked it. Hit the subscribe button if you really liked it and want to see more videos from me. Keep the conversation going down in the comment section below, and I will see you all in the next one. See ya.